Hey everybody, I'm Oliver Joyce, and I've got a little announcement for everybody. Coming to the Swords and Sandals Classic Collection as we speak, it's live right now, is a game that many people have actually asked for over the years. It's a bit of a curiosity. Gross Out Battle for Sludge Valley. Now, if you've never heard of that, it's understandable because this is not actually part of the Swords and Sandals series. It's a strange curiosity from 2007. And the story goes that after I'd finished Swords and Sandals 2, we were approached, and this is when I was working at the old company, we were approached by a client, a company called Kryptix Entertaimnent, and they had a bunch of trading cards called the Gross Out trading cards, which are very similar to the Garbage Pail Kids. For kids of the 80s, remember these. They were sort of like a really twisted version of Cabbage Patch Kids, but they had all sort of, disgusting, they all lived in bins and had banana peels and everything. But Gross Out was kind of like almost a rip-off of that, I would say. And they wanted to promote their trading cards, and so they came to us asking for a game. And so it was decided, not by me, but it was decided that we would use the Swords and Sandals 2 engine to create a fighting game with their characters. And, I would prefer to have been working on a sequel to Swords and Sandals, but, sometimes you got to pay the bills, and this was one of the things that was going to pay the bills. And so I spent, I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 months on this game, I think. And it's about a bunch of misfit kids living in a place called Sludge Valley. What are their names? Plugger and Skunk and I don't remember really. But they are trying to save the valley from a big developer called Big Jim Longhorn and his bunch of clean freak kids. And so I used all their various, the lore and story from their grossed out world and applied it to the Sword and Sandals 2 combat engine. And this is the first and only reskin that the Sword and Sandals engine ever had. I thought I'd include it in the classic collection because enough people have asked for it. And if you've ever wanted to play a Sword and Sandals game that isn't Sword and Sandals, this may be something you'd be interested in. It's pretty, in many ways, similar to Sword and Sandals, but in many ways very different in terms of the atmosphere, the weapons, the structure of the game is a bit different. The thing I struggle with the most about Gross Out, aside from not finding it particularly amusing as a concept, it's for little kids, I guess, who might find sort of fart jokes and things really funny. The thing I struggled with the most was there was only one villain in the whole series. They had 4 heroes, this sort of fat kid, a skinny kid, a rat, and a dog or something. But only one bad guy who was called like Johnny Clean, I think was his name. And I was going, do you guys have other villains? Is there any sort of like slime monsters or anything like that? They said, no, that's the one villain. And I said, well, in Sword and Sandals, there is all these other, random generated arena champions and characters with crazy hair and names and so on. And they said, no, just the one villain. So what I was able to do was take that template villain who was a sort of clean kid with a clean cut haircut and, a suit and tie and things. And I was able to change his tie color and hair and things like that and give him various random names. But it was a real struggle for me because every fight felt very similar. I actually created with the Big Jim Longhorn character as like a boss figure. He wasn't part of the Gross Out canon, but I figured you needed some kind of major antagonist. What is cool about the game is I think the shops are kind of cool, and DNA, the sort of rap star hero who is also the announcer of the game, he's pretty cool. It's sort of a Samuel Jackson style guy with a big afro, and he kind of commentates on the fights, and he also sells you weapons and things. And there's 2 other shops, which is a Garbage Gale, I think is a name, or something like that, and Mom also sells stuff. So check the game out. It's free. It's a free addition to the Classic Collection. If you've already got the Classic Collection, update it on Steam, and you'll be able to play this one. I've also done a few patches for Swords and Sandals. Swords and Sandals 4, I really tried to fix that bug where if you went into a duel, it would say, the lions have shut down the arena, or something like that. Or you'd see like fighting undefined undefined name characters. I think I've fixed that. If I haven't, let me know and I'll try it for the next patch. This has been a really tricky one to fix and something I've been trying to fix since the game came out in 2008 or whatever. That's how long. I've also done a fix for Swords and Sandals Crusader where if the enemy cast leadership, it would bug out the game. That no longer happens. So far for me, I played it for an hour or so yesterday and it didn't happen for me. Hopefully it doesn't happen for you as well, because I know that's a really annoying bug for many people. There is another big patch to do on this game. I was going to patch this game for as long as I can, but that's not going to come for a month or two. I'm looking at what I can do to improve Swords and Sandals 2 and Swords and Sandals 3. I'm also working on a way to make all the games run faster, and that's to do with the way they are loaded in at the moment. There is another way of kind of hacking it together so it actually kind of loads up in a browser within your game and so on, and it should run a lot smoother. Still experimenting with that. If I can get it working, it should hopefully fix up performance issues that a number of people have reported with the Classic Collection. As I said, it's a work in progress, and I'm still trying to build Swords and Sandals Crusader Redux and plan Swords and Sandals 6. So and deal with only working on these things kind of part-time and looking after my kid, and there's a lot going on, as we all have during the crazy pandemic we're all facing, but hopefully we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I hope you enjoy Grossed Out. I'm going to keep sort of trying to improve and patch the Classic Collection for as long as it's out. And I really appreciate everybody who's bought the games and reviewed the games and, just enjoyed them and relived the sort of the nostalgia of these things. And so without further ado, jump onto Steam, check out the Classic Collection, check out Gross Out. I'm going to play a couple of minutes of you right now and show you what it's all about. And we'll see, what Gross Out Battle for Sludge Valley is all about. I actually did a Games Gladiator video on Grossed Out about a year or two ago, so you can check that on my channel. But I'm going to play this for maybe just 2 or 3 minutes, just to give you an idea what it's all about. All right, my friends, let's jump into Gross Out Battle for Sludge Valley. All right, here we are on the familiar Classic Collection. If you click on Play Classic Series, you can see a new game has been added, Gross Out. Gross Out, Battle for Sludge Valley from 2007. A joint project with Kryptix to promote their line of Gross Out trading cards. It was built using the Swords and Sandals 2 combat engine, while the game itself has nothing at all to do with the Swords and Sandals universe, and I can't stress that enough. It is a much requested curiosity that has been included in the Classic Collection for posterity, as the only game ever to use the Swords and Sandals combat engine and not be Swords and Sandals. I thought about whether to add this or not, but I figured, why not? Hey now. Alright. So here are the title screen. You've got this Big Jim Longhorn character, Johnny Clean, Plugger and Skunk, and these two weird characters. The crazy thing about this game was I had to come up with the whole thing. There was no lore. There was no story. This guy's all created from scratch. Create a new game. So you can be this Plugger or Skunk or Spike or Splat. Will be the guy Skunk. So I had to actually write a story for this, and I sort of came up with this sort of Sludge Valley town and the sort of classic plot of these four misfits just kind of hanging around, sort of Bart Simpson types. And then there's a property developer who wants to sort of take over the town. That's this Big Jim character. He's going to concrete everything and turn everything into a mall and that kind of stuff. It's a fairly, contrived 1980s style plot. But these are our four characters, and they're pretty ugly. They have a sort of a Nickelodeon, sort of a Ren and Stimpy vibe to them. That Johnny Clean is the only villain that was actually from the Gross Out world. When I was looking through the sort of lore documents, all the information they gave me about this Gross Out stuff, only had that one villain, and I was like, well, Swords and Sandals has all these villains, you know, all these arena champions and bad guys and random things. And so they said, no, just that one guy. So I said, well, can I do things with it? They said, well, you can, you know, change the color of his hair and so on. So, you know, that's what I did. Anyway, the battle begins. So this D&A guy is pretty cool, though. He does sort of commentary throughout the game. So if you've played Swords and Sandals 2 before, you will know all about this. You move backwards and forwards, jump, run. It's very similar to the Swords and Sandals 2 engine. It's a little bit harder than Swords and Sandals in some ways because the enemies heal.
Now that was truly gross.
Okay, let's get ourselves some attack. Strength. I think you get a few more skill points. And the idea in this game is that you can visit various shops, like DNA Studio is the armor shop. Can you get anything yet? Not yet. Level 4. Shields. This is very similar to Swords and Sandals 2. The devices shop is the magic mom who gives you devices like smeller port and things like that. And there is also a weapon shop with Garlic Gale. So we can get dead fish, or we can get, see, look, toilet brush clogged with poo. This is the humor we're dealing with. You know, I guess it's designed for, you know, young kids. We'll buy that. Okay, we'll leave. And once you've chosen a location, that's where you're fighting for the chapter. And there's, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 locations, 6 chapters, maybe a 7th secret one. I can't remember. It's been a long, long time. Let's use a nuclear plant. And then you end up fighting all these various enemies. The nuclear plant responsible for not only supplying the town with efficient power, but also some of the coolest glowing stuff around. However, Big Jim has vowed to demolish the plant so he can replace it by building a wood chip furnace. They're both pretty bad, you know. Yeah, it had a weird sort of slightly environmental message to it, but, you know, I can't see that much wrong with demolishing an old, looks like a radiated nuclear plant anyway. So we've got a dead fish. So the Johnny Clean clones are all these sort of goody, fresh white. I came up with a bunch of weird names for them. They've got different hair and different tie and shirt colors, but they all look very similar, which makes it a little more hard to differentiate. But, you know, combat's very similar to Swords and Sandals too. Some of the cool, there's a cool bunch of spells and devices and so on, you know, spell equivalents. Combat starts off very simplistic, but then gets more complex later. Take him down, come on. How is he blocking all those in a row? There you go. DNA is kind of cool, sort of Samuel Jackson way. He does the fights. Anyway, you can go back to town if you wish, but you see all these other locations are locked off till you finish that. See if you can level up again. This guy's got a red bandana. If you've played Swords and Sandals 2 to death and you're looking for, you know, something similar yet different, this is for you. You know, I can't say this is one of my favorite games at all. I mean, I just think about, like, around the time Swords and Sandals 2 was finished, and I ended up working on Crusader next. But I would love to have done like a ninja-themed reskin, or like, you know, even a Western something or rather, or a space one would have been cool. But instead, my time was spent on this, and I guess, you know, you got to pay the bills. I was working for a company rather than myself these days, so, you know, you do what you can. But this is your curiosity. I have no idea what ended up happening to the gross out card games. No idea at all. I don't think they are around anymore. It's been so many years. I never saw them on the shelves or anything. They never felt particularly original to me. There are, you know, there's some amusing stuff in there, but it felt like sort of garbage pail stuff. But yeah, we never really heard from the guy again after this game came out. It was sort of the whole thing kind of disappeared. This fight is going forever. That's the thing with this, and I think once you get better weapons in some of the fights, go for longer. I mean, not go for longer. They're over faster and they're more interesting. But now I'm just using the first 3 buttons. Come on, just die already! But they keep healing. That's a interesting sort of issue. If I ever patch this game, I'm going to patch that out of there. This fight has gone for 15 minutes. All right.
Check it out.
You do level up pretty quickly. We're on level 4 now, so we can get. So if we get ourselves a helmet, we can see ourselves have a bandana. Oh, we can't afford it. All right. Anyway, that's enough of that. There we have it. That is Gross Out Battle for Sludge Valley. A curious addition to the Classic Collection, but a free one, and I hope you enjoy it. I've talked about the patches for Crusader and Swords and Sandals 4. I'm going to do another patch later in the year, and I'm hoping to have some footage for you later. I'm just going to shut that down. And I have a footage for you later in the week with sieges from Swords and Sandals Crusader Redux. I'm looking forward to bringing that to you. They're almost ready, and it's going to be fun just showing you a little bit about the differences between that and the original Crusader. All right, everybody. Thanks for being fans of Swords and Sandals and of the channel. The channel isn't hugely popular, but I definitely appreciate all subs and everything. If you want to join the channel, you're absolutely welcome to subscribe, and I definitely try to get back to anyone who writes a comment. The channel, of course, is never going to be as big as the games themselves, but I have fun doing it, and I love interacting with all you guys and girls. And without the fans, there is no Swords and Sandals, so you make me happy. All right, everybody. Until next time, bye for now.